Okay, so let us begin then. Hello, everyone. As you probably already know this, but I am Sung Yat. I am a product ecosystem developer at Magma, here to help with specifically with the community and also come up with product specs. And I'm here to host and also talk about our Magma AMA session and also come together and really showcase what we have in store. So, as people start trickling in, I think it's a really good time to start kicking things off. So we've got quite an exciting agenda here today. If you were here for the past AMA, which is with AMA 6, I believe, we do have a couple of updates on most of the things that we want to showcase. But first, as you probably already have seen, we are nearing the stage in which we're interested in maybe introducing the multi-board to a wider variety of users. So if you see the link in the chat right now, which Ryan so helpfully posted, we are hosting our current AMA on a multi-board, which was previously limited towards our beta testing batch, but we're interested in maybe understanding about the limits of it and as well as seeing what works and what doesn't work. So if you do have the opportunity, it would be really great if you could hop into the canvas and draw alongside us because we think that would be a good opportunity to see how well the multi-board is doing and find a couple of bugs. Right.
How large are the boards? Like on the multi-board, each of those canvases are they full HD or bigger? Just curious.
Um, so these are bigger than full HD. I'll open my drawing settings here. This one's a bit bigger, 2500 by 1600. So yeah, they vary, but these two bottom ones are the same. This one at the top is just slightly bigger. So I didn't want to make them too big. I kind of specifically wanted people to not have this gigantic board. We try and avoid the lag. But if on the small board it does start getting laggy, then we can shift over to another one.
Well, my first thought is that finally everyone will be able to draw in a like slightly higher quality if there's more like screen estate across multiple boards. So that's that's quite exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very curious what will happen on the board today.
Yeah. So that's the first introduction in terms of the multi-board and seeing and really experimenting and trying to see if we all could have a fun time just playing around on a multi-board. And once that is done, this will effectively also help us understand what admin permissions we would specifically need to introduce to a multi-board setting, whether or not there are any bugs or whatnot, and whether or not there's anything that we could potentially improve on. So as we draw in the multi-board canvases and just experiment and have fun mainly, if you notice anything wrong or anything that's a bit confusing, feel free to type it in the chat and we'll take note of it and try to see if we can improve it in further iterations. But as that goes on, let us kick off and talk about a couple of new things. So, Ryan, would you mind if I shift my screen for a little bit?
Yes, sure.
All right. So, let me share my screen. Perfect. Let me know if you can see this.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So, with the release of the feed and the gallery and many of our different features, one thing that we've been interested in like seeing is artworks that have been posted on the site. And one thing that we've really been able to notice is that though we are able to get lots of reach when something is featured or is recommended on the feed, for instance, we want to find and introduce many different ways to let people find artwork that they might potentially be interested in. This is still very much in the work in progress phase, but I'm here to sort of introduce a new iteration that we really have for the homepage/gallery. We are still experimenting with this. Keep in mind, this is very rough, and let me know if you can't see this. But we are interested in potentially changing the homepage or the landing page of Magma. So when you join, you may not be directly taken to the art desk, or you might be maybe we're gonna fuse it so you'll see a mixture of images and maybe have access to the art desk and whatnot. We're trying to tinker around and experiment with a bit of that. But what we really want to do is essentially introduce a very work in progress public gallery in which you'd be able to see all of the images posted on the site. So the top bit would be the recommended gallery, in which people would be able to hop on and maybe see some of the featured canvases that have been posted. But if not, then you'd also be able to go down and see a gallery of all the art pieces that were recently posted. Currently, it is based on the order of which they were posted on the feed and gallery. We don't have an algorithm yet. We are still working on it in terms of like it's written up and we're still experimenting with it. But we're currently interested in just expanding the reach and letting people explore more into like different types of art that are shown on Magma, which is one of our aims of letting people find each other, helping us build connections, and in the future, enabling it so everybody can find people that they want to work with and maybe draw and build meaningful relationships. So, for example, like how we have it set up is you can go into each of the specific galleries and you could see all of the recent posts that were shown there. You can also go back and also look at all of the recommended posts. So quite exciting, in which you'd be able to filter and just go back and see a long backlog of all the pieces that have been drawn in Magma. So we hope that this would be a new fun addition in case you want inspiration or maybe interested in checking out some cool art. And as we optimize this, we hope that it would be a fun place for you to find other artists to follow. So that's our first update in terms of the recommended gallery. And then next, I think what we can talk about is the creator economy. Ryan, would you like to talk about that and also mention the release date?
Yeah, so not a lot of new stuff. Actually, nothing to show that's really new. For those who might have missed it, we have added the option to gift to users, or that's going to be added soon. What I might not have shown, you can see there's some custom things over here. I might not have shown that you can create your own custom rewards too. So I'm going to go to my creator dashboard here quickly. And here we have a default collection, of course, which will have various things like challenging people not to use the eraser, or maybe you want to paint over or something like this. But you can also add your own custom one and add your own sort of icon for the reward. Call this Happy Doggo. And then people, when they join your canvases, they'll have this option to gift that particular reward. We've got a few creators who have joined the program. Some of you are here already. You're going to be helping with kickstarting this. And the plan is to officially launch this next week, Tuesday. I have no idea what the date is next week, Tuesday. It is the 22nd, if all goes smoothly. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. It means that those of you who are spending time on the platform, hosting some amazing art jams, of which there are many of you, now you could potentially earn through hosting those events and through doing amazing art in Magma. People will be able to tip you, or you could even host private sessions, maybe do people's banners for their Magma profiles or a new profile picture, that kind of thing. And they can tip you in mags, which is our sort of in-app token. And once you reach a certain threshold, you'll be able to then cash that out, money in the bank. So just a way we want to try and help our artists thrive on the platform. And
Yeah, I feel like that's
kind
a
of
pretty
it.
great introduction. Or Tech, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I would just add that we, as this first step, we introduced those like gifts and rewards because that seems like the most natural way to express the gratitude for folks who are already doing like a lot of work on the platform. But we actually have we have literally like tens of ideas like how else we could apply that on the platform, as in like, for example, if you're creating brushes, or maybe you want to do commissions, or some like guides or tutorials for other artists. We think that Magma would be a perfect place where you actually can create such content and then potentially like sell it on some kind of like marketplace, or like just like share it on your feed, so that like whoever is interested might for example like use the points to buy it from you. So we have a lot of ideas. We would love to hear from everyone, like if like some of you have some ideas on your own how this point system could be used, what could be cool to be added. We would love to hear all that. I know we have also some ideas for some exciting cosmetics in the future. That Sungyat has, quite a lot of cool stuff. But again, I think it will all also depend on the feedback from the community.
Very cool stuff. So that's a bit of an update in terms of that. For those of you who are in the creator program as well, I would say while the official launch in which we're comfortable to start fully releasing to everyone is Tuesday, we're probably going to be waiting off for a full public release on Thursday. So when that occurs, then that is the official date of which the contract and everything and all the legalities and all of that will officially kick off. So Tuesday is going to be the update which comes out, and then afterwards Thursday in which the formalities and all the official marketing and everything, all of that will actually kick off. So hopefully that helps clarify a couple of things. Okay, so now that we've covered the multi-board and we've covered the homepage as well as the creator economy, we are now able to, I guess, have a bit of a showcase into changes that we have for the transform tool. Mar, I see you asked a question. In your creator dashboard, is a viewer an artist who joins your art jam? I want to say the answer is yes, though Wojtek, you may know the more technical answer to that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's actually like this chart shows you like how much time like users spend on your canvas. So you can, for example, understand which of your gems were more engaging, that people stayed longer, which were less engaging. Viewer, like now that you mention it, it is actually a bit technical term. We might want to think about the kind of the glossary, but yeah, that's pretty much what it means.
Perfect. Okay, so and finally, it has a bit of an update. I know before we teased the fact that Transform is coming to Magma, or I guess Free Transform and a bit of the more standard. I want to say standard. How would you say it? Like Free Transform is one of those things that's kind of like expected for a drawing app, but we're still slowly getting through all of these main features. And if you can see my screen right now, this is basically Tomek, who started working on the Transform tool a couple of like weeks ago, and we actually have a video of like current progress into how specifically it's going to work. Ignore the icons on the side, but essentially we've been seeing the comments about adding a couple more artistic tools and how Free Transformer is one of those things that is essential for maybe more advanced art processes. So we currently have a video showcasing how it currently is going. We still have to go through and do lots of bug tests with like how it really works at different sizes, whether or not it would impact the collaborative experience, and whether or not anything else would specifically that we would specifically have to keep out or keep a lookout for, especially in terms of bugs as well. But this is coming. Like we're currently working on it. We can't really guarantee when it will go into the beta phase yet. We still have to talk with Tomek about it. But yeah, exciting stuff. It is currently on the way, and just hopefully y'all will be excited about this. Anything else specifically we can add about this, Wojtek? Do you know, in terms of the transform?
I believe we were planning to start some like at least internal beta next week after like Tuesday release. Although we have to after we test it like internally with our beta testing team, we need to see if there are any bugs or performance issues. So the official ETA is not available yet, but I would say it's probably most likely it's not. We're not far away from being able to enable it for everyone. We could also, Sungyal, I don't know, we could also share some insights into what's coming next to our like pipeline of creative tools.
Sure, go for it.
So yeah, so because like you mentioned that there's a list of tools that are kind of expected for like complete art workflow, and we're quite aware from all the requests and all the feedback we're getting that there are like some tools that are more needed than others. So I think two things that we have planned to be working on next are kind of in this category. So one of them is that the ability to customize your pen pressure curve, because we chat to a lot of you, and we're seeing that while for some folks on like on some of the drawing tablets. Like Magma works great, the pen pressure works great out of the box. But we've also heard a lot of voices in the community that for many of you, let's say with the new pen pressure for opacity, you have to actually press really really hard on the screen. I think a lot of iPad owners like complain about this. So we're gonna add this kind of curve where you can like customize how strong you have to press on the device to get the desired size of the brush or opacity. Hopefully this will make Magma like life in Magma easier for a lot of you. And then the second like big thing on the creative side is the liquify tool. That's the one that has been also like requested quite a lot. um, that one might be slightly more tricky to implement, although I think we actually learned a lot when we were implementing blend tool, and as far as I know the dev team has some ideas of how we could implement.
Not hearing anything.
Okay. I was staying really
Oh.
quiet, so I wasn't sure if it was me.
Okay. Well, we lost him, and I think he might have crashed. But yes, in terms of the current pipeline for essential things that we're really working on, the next thing is going to be like the pressure curve, which would enable you to customize how sensitive pressure is on certain devices in order to help enhance your drawing experience for those of you with pressure sensitivity. And then the second thing that we're going to be working on is liquify. And then once that is done, we're going to be slowly going through the list of important changes that we're really diving into. And yeah, hopefully we can keep going and just keep leveling up Magma to become the app that we really want it to be. So in terms of updates, I would say that's pretty much it. So as this is the AMA and a lot of people really didn't post a lot of questions, I guess it's time for, a bit of a freeform AMA then. Is Wojtek here? Wojtek is here. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. And then afterwards, we would be more than happy to answer them all here live in front of all of you. If you want to also ask questions in the drawing chat, feel free as well. We'll be monitoring that. But if not, and we just want to sit and chill, that works too. The canvas is live. If you do want to hop onto it and start experimenting with the multi-board, and we hope we all have quite a fun time today.
Before anyone asks, DMs are still on the way. We are working on it.
DMs and time lapse is also there.
I would even go as far as saying that we have some secret internal version of DMs that is already working. So it's not like we just started. It's quite advanced, but not ready to release it yet. But the progress is really really good. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I was talking for like liquify for like before before my Discord crashed. So but thanks for covering it, Sungyat.
Got you. But yeah, that is the current plan. Hello, Neon. Plans for user search. Yes, we have talked about this, or specifically, I have talked about this with Mark. But before going to it, Wojtek, do you have anything to add here? If not, I can just basically say what I talked with Mark about it.
Go for it.
Oh, okay. Well, basically along those lines the answer is yes, we do want to implement it in the future. It's one of those things that's essential for DMs and also finding specific artists to work with. And like sometimes you might not be able to catch them in an art jam, or you might not share art space with them. And if you don't know their username, it can get quite complicated. But on our end, what we would basically have to do is experiment and try to see if we could find a way to easily like search through our huge database of users. And it's something that we're interested in really diving into, but it will take a bit more time than expected.
Yeah, that's a like that Damon, our CEO, likes to say that okay, that's a nice problem to have, but at this point, I think we are we over like 3.5 million registered users.
Yeah, 3.5 million. Yeah.
So it actually we are at the point where some of the features that might seem like easy on the surface are actually complex just because there's like so much data to come through. whenever doing any kind of search. So definitely that's not an easy feat, but yeah, our dev team always can solve it, but it just sometimes takes some time to figure out the right solution.
Mhm. Yeah. Hopefully that answers the question. The answer basically is yes, we really want to dive into it, but as Magma grows, it makes problems trickier, but it's still something that we are going to bravely tackle. Neon, I see you have a question. Earlier today, someone I'm not really comfortable with followed me. I was hoping I could make them unfollow me, but that wasn't an option. Is this going to be a feature later on? Yes. Blocking is going to be a thing that's we're going to be introducing. It's something that we showcased in the last AMA alongside DMs. And we're currently still tinkering with it because there are a couple things that we really have to iron out specifically in terms of bugs. But yes, alongside DMs, blocking will be coming as well in case you want to just have a more private session or there are some users that you would rather them not follow you. Yeah, it will also force unfollow them if you're really interested in the specifics of working, and also make it so they can't join any of the art pieces that you're currently on or own. And this will be on a user basis as well, so it won't be like the current block system in which it's based per canvas. So if you're art jam moderator and you know that there are going to be a couple of problematic individuals, it is implemented in a way that you only have to block them once and be blocked across all of your canvases. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. And yeah, feel free to ask more questions and we'll be happy to answer them. If not, we can all just like chill and draw on the multi-board as well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also just,
In the meantime, well, sorry, did I cut you off, Ryan?
no, it's fine. Go for it.
Oh, okay. In the meantime, while we're waiting for questions, I just wanted to mention that I really like feel so happy looking at this multi-board now in action, because we have been literally working on this for, I think, for 3 years. Like the Radek, who is the person who actually created the first original version of of the collaborative engine, who is a great engineer, but also actually his artist himself. Um, so I specifically wanted to give shout out to him, because like the technical challenge was extremely difficult, because as you all know, Magma actually can be laggy even like with the single canvas. So like wrapping like Radek wrapping his head around, okay, how to make it happen for multiple boards, or maybe even tens of hundreds of boards, it's like much bigger challenge. So like it's been like constant like R&D for a long time. So just seeing this works, actually all of you drawing there, I feel that's quite an achievement. And I'm actually curious, like once we release this like everywhere on the art gems, I wonder what the actual limits are, like when we're gonna start hitting some lag, how many boards are possible. We actually have been also having some discussions internally, like, okay, but let's say if you can create a multi-canvas art gem, how does it gonna impact the actual nature of art gems, right? Because I think we had some thoughts on, if people can create multiple canvases, maybe it makes like all of those boards more isolated, right? Or maybe people are then less connected than like drawing on a single board. So yeah, I guess we have to wait and see, and then figure out what potentially is the solution. But yeah, just excited to see what the community will do with this feature.
Indeed. The Magma community is very creative and they also like to test things a lot. So I'm pretty sure we will find out the answer to what is the limit quite soon.
When we actually did the first round of beta testing, I don't know who was that. I don't know if you remember, guys, but one person in our beta testing group actually did a pixel art using the canvases on multi-board, which is definitely not how we intended it to be used, and it put it was quite a lot to handle by the engine, but that was very creative. So I guess maybe we're gonna see a lot of cases like this.
For sure. Would be very interesting to see what we come up with. Do we happen to have a release date, Wojtek? Do you know?
for
I guess
the
the multi-board.
in RGEM.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's left to do is the permission system, because I think like what is the permission setup for this gem? We have limited, right, the ability to create boards, or
Yeah. I've limited that ability only to admins, just because it is buggy. It is buggy. So there's some weird kind of behaviors. I didn't want to give everyone free reign to create layers, but create boards. But I can make you an admin, Wojtek. You should be able to.
no, like I was just asking because I think that's the main remaining thing.
Yeah.
Actually making some adjustments to the permission system, because even without like releasing this, we actually suspect there will be few use cases where as an RGEM owner, maybe you want to somehow limit the ability to create the boards like for everyone. Maybe you just want, or actually quite a few use cases that we have in mind for this feature is that some of the boards might be like open to everyone, like we have here, drawing on some of those. But then there's the rules board, which I would imagine if Ryan or Sungyat creates a gem, probably they don't want everyone to be able to just go on the rules and like suddenly change it or remove it or whatever. So having these selective permissions for per board is one thing that we're still kind of trying to figure out how to do. And I think as soon as that's solved, we probably will be ready to start like enabling this for everyone in our gyms.
Indeed. But also, it currently looks like it's going well. But if anyone has any comments in terms of like how it really feels, is it a bit confusing? Is it really easy to understand? Hearing those comments would be very helpful for us to improve and really optimize it for a full public release. So if you do have any comments, feel free to post them in the chat, and we'd love to hear them. Next question is from Neon. More of a personal wish rather than as a problem of anything. Would animating ever be a thing would be available to do? We've answered this question several times, but it's a popular one, so I'm more than happy to announce it again. The answer is, as a fully fledged animation platform, not in the foreseeable future, but for like simple GIFs or GIFs, depending on how you want to pronounce. I'll let you guys fight over that in the chat. That is something that we are interested in exploring in the near future. Not immediately, mind you, but GIF making is something that we know is something that we really want. It's something that we could try to use the sequence board specifically for, but it's not anything that we've put any specific dev work into yet.
Mm-hmm. I would also add to that we there was one conversation I think on our like in the Discord with one person from a studio and who said that they want to do some automations because they actually use Magma for animation. And I think we actually I'm not sure if we released this like officially to everyone, but we worked on some API that can be used to automate some of the actions in Magma. So actually it would be possible to write, for example, a Chrome browser plugin that would allow you to control, let's say, visibility of the layers or pull the content of the layers. So I think with these changes that this API brings, it might allow like us to potentially even create or actually anyone interested to create a plugin that would add ability to, let's say, export your sequence as a GIF like more easily than before, because before you would have to do some, let's say, serious hacking to kind of get the contents of the canvas. So in general, I think we're getting closer to having at least some solution where we would prototype this and be able to see if that actually is something that makes it makes Magma even in that limited manner a tool that is very useful for animation. I think some of the workflows you mentioned sequences, Sungyat. I think I also had a interview with one user who is using Magma for like some of the animations. And the feedback from them was that the sequence panel is slightly too slow, like the way the panels load for them is slightly too slow, because when you switch between those frames, you want to see how the animation looks. If it takes like every time 1 or 2 seconds to load, it just makes the whole experience a bit too laggy. So I think they mentioned they were using some hacky system where they were hiding and showing some of those, like placing all of those frames on the canvas and then unhiding and showing the layers. So I think this is the thing that we could also, with this client API, we could somehow automate it and have a plugin that kind of does this for you. So you can, let's say, flip through all the layers in some automated manners to see how the animation looks. So yeah, it's quite possible. Maybe if we have some like developers here in the community that are interested, please reach out, because I think with the tools that we have, it could potentially be possible to create plugins like this now. Yeah, I'd be happy if anyone is interested. Would be happy to chat about this as well.
Magma mods in
Yeah,
the
exactly.
modding sense, not specifically in the
Exactly.
moderation sense. But that's a bit more technical. Um, Andy also mentioned that collapsing all layers would be kind of great. Something also that Winter also seconds. Is this when we say collapsing all layers, is this specifically in the case of like combining all layers that you own, Andy, or do you mean something slightly different? Like a right click, select all, merge all.
Interesting. I mean, that is something we've spoken a bit about, and it's come up a
Yeah.
lot, the ability to select multiple layers and then be able to perform actions based on that. So one day, I'm sure it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. That basically just goes in the giant pool / question that is involved with like layer grouping and whatnot, which is something that we do want to explore. So when we do finally get the time to address that, that's basically it will be lumped in with that conversation. Next question. Let me see. Anime. Yep. Multiple canvases, yes, are underwater. This is the multi-board. It's something that we are currently experimenting with and really stress testing. So have fun exploring it. Neon Luminous, another question. Another thing I've noticed, let's say I've been on in a private canvas that also my friend has been in, but it still shows up as a canvas I can't join in the following activities when they're on the canvas. Is that a question in terms of like why can't you join it on the side? Because the logic there is you normally wouldn't be able to join a private canvas unless the person specifically sets it so that other people can join them in the sharing settings. So it's something in the share and share drawing canvas privacy setting. So you just have to make sure that that is clicked in order for other people to be able to hop on and join you when that specifically happens. So maybe that helps you answer that question. Mar, is it just to zoom into the board to draw type thing rather than to click on the board to have it enlarged? You need to have a brush tool selected, and afterwards you have to click onto it in order to specifically draw on that board, Mar. Nice. Okay. 4 also says, but I do hope the Magma team do take their time. Don't rush and get sick. Our devs are very dedicated to really rushing out these types of features. It's something that we're all really excited about. But yes, we are pacing ourselves because there simply is lots of things that we're interested in exploring, both in terms of drawing features, but in terms of other things. But I'm gonna specifically aim this question at Wojtek because this Wojtek, if you don't know, he sleeps at like ungodly hours. When he was in Thailand, he would work into like really early AMs, and it was sometimes a bit hard to understand when he'd be offline, which is an issue. So I think we all can say, Wojtek, that it's sometimes okay to get some rest as well.
Yeah, in principle I do agree. that's what I can say. Yeah, in
Oh no.
practice, I feel there's still so much to build that sometimes for me personally it's hard to slow down. But I do agree, yeah, that's actually quite important to to slow down, kind of catch your breath, and then continue doing what you love. So I definitely agree with the message and really appreciate well, thinking about us in the first place. So yeah.
Also, hello, Kamin. I see you've hopped in the chat. Hello, hello. Dion, you also ask, it's popping up all of mine a sudden. It would be really cool if there was a quick toggle to hide all layers from others. It gets really tedious to toggle off all layers just to get a good screenshot of your drawing. Oh, that's fair. Ryan, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes. So we do have this option available. So I'm going to jump into this drawing over here and just quickly, I see it has been addressed, but I'll show it anyway. I'm just going to make some squiggles. And now I'm going to go to my view menu and change the personal layer visibility. And we have an option here to hide all layers except the current one. So now when I do this, everyone else's layer on the canvas is hidden. And then I can get a screenshot if I want to. And if I want to just reset that, there's a reset option right there. So there we go. Nice and easy.
There's also search, right? You can go to search and just like search for your own layers or layers for a specific user. But I think it's not really discoverable. I don't think a lot of people will use this option. And we actually had the discussion about this very thing, that maybe instead of having like search where you have to type, there could be like selector of a user avatar. So you could just click and toggle, okay, only my layers, or maybe only layers of Ryan. So you can, in one tab get a layer of a specific person. So it's good to hear this feedback, because it does sound like maybe that actually would be quite useful to have this option.
Mhm. For sure. Many so there are so many things I don't even know about, even though I use this website literally every day. Actually, that is a good point, or that is something that we'd be interested in asking about, because it's something that we really want to optimize in terms of our flow. When it comes to hopping into Magma, one thing that we've begun to realize is, because there's so many different things that we've already implemented, like a lot of our feature requests, and this is also a bit of a selfish thing on our end because it would make our lives a lot easier. A lot of people are asking about things that already exist within the app. And as a result, one question that I think we all would be quite interested in understanding is, what features do you think could be made more clear in Magma? And I think this would be helpful for us to maybe improve the visibility and making everything easier for new users, but also making it so when experienced users hop onto the platform, like, they'll be able to take their art up to the next level.
Yeah, on top of that, I would add that we're actually actively working on some designs that are exactly about that. Like, how do we make some of the features more available, like more findable in Magma? I think there are some things we were chatting today with Bożena, designer on our team, that there are certain things that probably could use slightly better UX. Like, for example, a lot of you have been asking about like the rotation. Like, I think many people don't realize that if you have your layer and you go to transform tool, you have to actually drag just beside the corner of the layer to start rotating it. And the application, the interface itself just gives you ability to rotate by 90 degrees. So yeah, I see this question coming up regularly. Hey, like, um, is it actually possible to rotate by like arbitrary angle in Magma? So this probably is an example of something we can improve on the design side, where we add some special handle for rotation, so you don't have to rely on the hover effect to find out where exactly you need to drag. But then there are also some things that are just maybe hard to spot, especially, or maybe even if you're a beginner, you just don't know there's such option. Like, maybe example I would give is the alpha lock on the layer. It's like a small icon. If you see it first time and maybe you used some other software that never had this option, you might be like, okay, I don't know what's that, so I'm just not gonna click it. So we're working on some designs for the onboarding, or actually one of the things we're currently working on is having like a search bar, like potentially having a search bar where you can just like, click a button, and then you have a search where you can type, you're searching for a tool that you need, and that bar pretty much like shows you like what is the tool and what's the shortcut and what's the path to reach it. So like, instead of having to reach out to us and like wait for the answer, you could actually just type to check if there's such option in Magma. Maybe that would help, but knowing what actually are those things that like any of you didn't know Magma have, or maybe there are some things you you actually think Magma doesn't have, and we do have that. So please shout out in the chat, and then we'll know which tools are like the most important to highlight or to improve in terms of the user experience.
For mentions the perspective tool. Would be interested in diving a bit more into that. I can't really say much because personally I don't use the perspective tool too much, but maybe like Ryan, maybe that's something you use and you'd be able to dive into Four's questions about this further.
Oh right. Yeah. So that does happen, and I think that is normal behavior. So if I go over here, I'm gonna. Where's my cursor? I'm losing it. Clicking here. Yeah. So that horizon line goes all the way out. There's currently no way to change it because with your vanishing points, you can put them outside of the area. Because often, when you're working with images or if you're working with a scene in perspective, then your vanishing points are often well outside of the area that you're going to be drawing. So that's why this still goes off into the distance, and why it exists outside of that sort of general area. It's because you can move those points around outside. So it kind of needs to be visible. But if someone else has created a perspective grid and it's bugging you, you can also disable the visibility in two ways. One is with your personal layer visibility in your layers panel, or you can go into your view menu and we have a show perspective grids option here, and you can just toggle that off, and then you won't be able to see anyone else's perspective grids if a bunch of you are all doing different scenes on the same canvas. Hope that answers the question. Cool.
Nice. All right. Next thing is from Mar. You get questions about how to deselect from new users during jams. I'm assuming that means like, oh, when you make a selection after it's like clicking out or switching to a different tool doesn't really deselect it. I guess the question here is like, we really need to experiment with different flows in order to understand like how we could improve selecting and deselecting layers or selecting different things. I don't know. I've been so used to, I guess, Magma that by default I just kind of know to just deselect at the side. But how do other apps normally do it? Is there a shortcut that you would click, or is there like a certain like logic that it would follow that would automatically deselect something?
I suppose with a lot, there's often like a button on the side, right? Or like within the settings for things. Because we do have a button here in the side panel where you can deselect, but it's probably not as visible, say, for example, if you're in super simple mode and you make a selection, then it's not obvious how to deselect. It's not like a quick thing. You have to open up something first to then deselect, either here or in your edit menu. So maybe that's not the most optimum way for things to be designed.
We also have that pill in the top bottom left corner when you have a selection, right? But it's covered by the chat now.
Yeah.
That's the one I personally use like often to determine if I do have a selection or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sad Banana and Four also do mention that they use it too.
Ah. Yeah, well spotted.
But the fact that that's brought up, yeah. The fact that it's brought up means that it's something that we might need to optimize for in the future. Maybe if we do see more feature requests and all of that, maybe we could try to optimize it. But it's like tricky, right? Because it's something that it already exists, and our users are very helpful in helping them answer and understand how to do it. But if there's an easier or better way to optimize it, it's something that we'd be interested in specifically doing, especially if it's quite easy. Let's use Clip Studio Paint. It's a small toolbox appears when you do make a selection. And if I wanted to deselect yes, super simple mode automatically switching was quite a big issue before. Like, especially if it was for like smaller devices, it would automatically switch to that setting just to accommodate. It doesn't really clutter everything, but sometimes it can be quite confusing in order to switch back. Recently use the shortcuts into quite time. Yeah, fair. Okay, so overall, maybe a bit on perspective, if there's something that we could specifically change that in order to make it more intuitive. Maybe some deselecting things could also be something that we could really dive into. Maybe we could study it a bit more, Wojtek, if it's something that's really easy to fix. Maybe that's something that would be a nice quick win to optimize the experience for new users. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really good feedback. Yeah, we'll definitely give it a thought.
But yeah, we still have 9 minutes left. So if you have any other questions that you'd be interested in diving into, feel free to ask them away.
Well, I'm
But I
curious if
also do see that
people.
there are.
Sorry, Sonyat.
Yeah, go on,
I'm
Ryan.
curious if
No, no,
people have been
go on.
using the opacity pressure setting recently, which got released to everyone. Why am I? Oh, that's why. See, clearly I'm not used to super simple mode. Yeah, the brush now has pressure sensitivity for opacities. I'm curious if people have been using it and how it's. Banana saying, haven't taken it off since it was released. Nice, that's good to hear. It was definitely a requested one. Highly requested.
And Ryan has promised us to prepare some cool brushes that are using the new pen pressure
Indeed, I
for
have.
opacity, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I gotta still do some research. I mentioned to the team I was looking at some different marker style brushes to see if I could create something similar because I think that works quite well with that setting. Yeah, so I'll figure something out. I'll figure something out.
And also, like, is the rig brush here yet? Because I
Not
remember,
yet.
like, we developed it, and it's like sitting somewhere. And I was like, if we're gonna be adding new brushes, maybe it's time to drag that one out of the closet and throw it in with everything else as well.
Yeah. We actually we were planning to schedule it in the last release. It didn't make it, but yeah, the rag brush is coming. So yeah, that's that's a cool thing too. Oh,
It's
maybe
coming.
maybe that's the question to the chat. Are there any like brushes that you all would like to see, like other than the mentioned rake brushes and some brushes that could like leverage the new opacity? What else what should be the next ones that we could be thinking about?
Rig brush combo. That's like a hand.
Interesting.
Really? Well, we have the pose, right? The dog pose. Not the same thing, but still cool.
Yeah, if you post a screenshot, that would be cool. See how it looks.
Square shaped brush mark. Yeah, but also in general. Like having having a square tip brush could be cool. That doesn't necessarily function like the pencil tool. Because I also did see like some people wanted a more of a marker style brush. So maybe that could be interesting to explore as well. I don't know. Sometimes when I'm like clearing through like the feature requests, it's something that people are asking a lot about, like more square settings. Square shape brush mark. Even though I don't use my phone. Yep. More filter setting options. Yes. That's a tricky one. Because when it comes to the filters, right, it's one of those things where we have to be very careful about because it like messes with the whole canvas. Um, what would you be interested in seeing, Winter?
I see there was also a question about the user interface mobile devices, right? Mm, yeah, okay, maybe it's a bit early to mention, but we are also working on like solidifying some of the UI patterns we've been using in Magma, because like right now, I don't know if you notice or not, but sometimes we have some patterns that are like not we don't use them like consequently across multiple places in the app. So we're doing some of those changes to make sure that whenever we use a certain button or like slider and so on, this element behaves always the same and looks the same in various places, because um, like doing this cleanup of the user interface will allow us to actually do some more broader changes in the actual layout system. So what you can expect probably in the next, yeah, maybe one to like probably over the course of next 1 2 months, there might be some changes happening to the user interface as a part of this, unifying some of the components. I know these changes tend to be quite controversial, as in like when we did some changes in the chat recently. I know it took us, I think, 1 or 2 iterations to improve the readability. So I really hope we will get it right the first time we do those. But if not, I would we will definitely appreciate any feedback on those changes. And then we are planning to iterate for a while until we get to this point where we have our UI system more modular. And from that point on, that will be the time to look into, okay, now that it's easier for us to like rearrange components, how do we actually make a better mobile or tablet version? So yeah, we are aware, but we this is kind of a process that there's some like tech debt that we need to address first before being able to like improve the actual layout. So that's the kind of the long story. But yeah.
Nice. Sharpen color balances, midtones, shadow adjustments. Ah, yes, I am aware of those tools. Um, who would we have to talk with like Roddick about this? In terms of like who had helped us design our previous filters?
Um, I actually don't remember. Yeah.
Like, yeah, see if anyone. Or at the end of the day, we might just have to like go from scratch and figure it out. But yes, Winter, that's good. That's quite helpful. Yeah, Crouton's gradient map. Yeah, it's around one of those things where it's like we would have to optimize it for the experience of everyone, so it's something that we really have to dive into and try to optimize for. But I see the gradient maps are quite popular, so maybe it's something that we dive into in the future. Um, for that's quite a funky brush. I see. Ryan, do you happen to recognize this one? I am
Uh,
looking at it. I don't know how to supposed to tackle that one, but like
yeah, no, I haven't seen that one. I see it's on Clip Studio, so I'll see if I can find it and get a better sense of how it works.
But like funnily enough, I actually don't see a hand there. I see like the vampire face that is looking to the left side. I don't know about you guys. That's a cool one.
oh, Ryan, I think I've spotted a bug.
Yes.
Sometimes some of the canvases disappear when I zoom out. Like
So
it
it
just
goes too
becomes
transparent.
transparent.
Looks like it's just a
Yep,
transparent thing. Yeah, yeah. Notice it, and I've got that. I've got a screenshot saved for Radic.
perfect.
Thanks.
Sharpen is good, yeah. Would you ever make it possible to change the toolbar on the left to super simple mode? Um, as in, like, being able to condense the toolbar further, Val?
Maybe it's about like customizing which tools are shown, right?
I
Like
mean,
out
it's
of the
something. If it's
box.
customizing what tools are shown, it's something you can do. But I think you mean like, condensing them further.
Oh, I see. Like the group, the ones that are
As in,
grouped.
like, is it like grouping it or like, only having some of them available?
Wait, but you can't customize it in super simple node, right? You have some of those hidden, but you can't like decide
Yeah,
which one should be like
you can't
dragged out
decide
of
which
the.
ones.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, well, in the main app, you can customize which tools are available and which tools aren't. Yeah. So maybe it's a group. Maybe it's a grouping thing. It's one of those that, and also making a super simple mode variant that enables you to use the full modes toolkit with just a cleaner UI. Yeah, yeah, yep. And also, like, another thing that I've also been seeing is like being able to like switch it to like a left-handed mode as well for left-handed users. I know that's something that a lot of users have been flagging. So once the design system thing is done, maybe that's something that we can explore. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I just one more final question from Bree. Would it be possible to add hue saturation value sliders beneath the color wheel? Ooh. Um, Ryan, would you like to talk a bit more about this?
I
Because
know
I don't really use
nothing.
that slider normally.
Yeah, I don't either, to
Like
be
hue
honest.
saturation. Because for hue saturation, I just mainly rely on just the square setting and just kind of used to adjusting it there. A slider would be a quality of life change, though, if it makes it a lot easier to do it. Could potentially be a quick win in terms of like, developing it. But I also do think that in terms of like the UI clutter and how much space it takes up, that's something that we'd have to dive into in the future, and really try to optimize for. But yeah, if there are no other questions in terms of anything else that anyone really wants to ask, that would pretty much end the 7th AMA. Thank you all so much for joining. I think Ryan will be keeping on this canvas maybe on for like a little bit longer, just in case anyone wants to finish their pieces. But it's been a pleasure to answer our questions again today. Hopefully, you all will be excited for the new things that are coming up, whether that would be the multi board or the full release of the creator economy with all of the specific updates. And yeah, I hope to see you all in our next AMA.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. If so, see
Thanks everyone.
you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.
Bye.